Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green and you're watching AMTV, Alternative Media Television. We are just days away from Trump's inauguration, and there's a great deal of complacency. It's at the time of most complacency where there actually is the most risks. What's changed since 2008 and 2009? Anything? Because when Donald Trump was running for president very recently, before he was elected, the presidential elect, our new president of the free world, he warned of something very specific: a massive, enormous, gigantic bubble.
Now look, we have the worst revival of an economy since the Great Depression. And believe me, we're in a bubble right now. And the only thing that looks good is the stock market. But if you raise interest rates even a little bit, that's going to come crashing down. We are in a big, fat, ugly bubble.
Now we got to really be smart because we don't have money anymore. You know, we're a poor nation. We're a debtor nation. And we could be on a bubble, and that bubble could crash, and it's not going to be a pretty picture.
But I saw this coming, and I've been talking about a bubble. I think you sort of alluded to it, but I've been talking about a bubble. We are right now in a big, fat, ugly bubble.
He repeated it again and again. He said it's getting bigger, it's becoming more outlandish, and it's going to collapse. He's even been selling his stocks. Donald Trump, the master tactician, the master marketer who just won the U.S. election against all odds, was telling you, America, and Americans specifically, we're going and are going to pay the piper. Because the Federal Reserve has just been kicking that can down the road. Now, in 2008, 2009, at the height of the crisis, George W. Bush declared an emergency in the United States of America. But what few people know is that we're still in that state of emergency. The liquidity of the financial system, every single global financial institution going down, warning us, Congress, of martial law in the streets. So what's changed? Let's think about that for a moment. Nothing. Not a gosh darn thing has changed. But Christopher, the economy is getting better. Is it? Or his credit? You see, all they've done is liquefied the system, this phony, erroneous system that makes up the Federal Reserve printing money out of thin air, creating a dollar from nothing, and then the banks lending that dollar 10 times out to other people and businesses that was founded and created and started from nothing, and then lending it again, creating a multi-quadrillion derivatives market. And if you don't know what a quadrillion is, because it's tough to fathom. These are the CDOs, the CMOs, all these sexy exotic instruments that have blown up hedge funds and pretty much into the world in 2008 and 2009. A quadrillion equals $1,000 trillion. So they've created more liquidity. They've liquefied the system with credit. Why? That's not a sign of the economy getting better. That's just lubing up the system to keep you spending. So you take on more debt. Credit card debt, household and personal debt, by the way, is soon to eclipse the levels we saw pre-crash in 2008 and 2009. People are taking out more credit again. They didn't even learn their original lesson, because that's what the banks want. They're laughing all the way to the bank. So they've liquefied the system. We're still in a state of emergency. They've created even more credit in the market. It's creating a much larger bubble than what we had before. The Dow is freaking approaching 20,000. For crying out loud. But what's changed? Nothing. Except the risks have increased, and we're at an all-time high of complacency. That should worry you. People taking out second mortgages again, people taking out HELOCs, people being issued new credit cards, buying things they can't afford to impress people they don't even like. Thank you, George Collin. How does this end? It ends worse than what we just saw. 2008, 2009, because we hadn't had a crisis like that since the Great Depression, they could liquefy the system. They could inject it with TARP and multi-trillions of dollars created from nothing to keep things going, to keep you drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak. But in the next round, since the Fed is now backed against a corner, it has fired that last shot out of its gun, has no room to run but to freeze your assets. I've talked about this incessantly, the war on cash. Do you know if you go to a bank right now, and I have friends that have done this, they've gone to a bank and have tried to withdraw over $10,000 of their own cash. Like, hey, can I withdraw my own money? You know what the bank has said? No. Sign this here. And why do you want your own money? Or they've told, my friends, we don't have it. Go try it for yourself. Go to your bank right now and try to withdraw over $10,000 from a major financial institution. 9 out of 10 times, you'll be put on the radar. They can seize the assets, and they simply don't have it at the institution itself because it's all digital. It's all funny money. It's all 0 and 1s. It's not backed by anything. A commodity, gold, silver, wheat, oil, corn. It's a figment of the imagination of the illusory system that makes up these credit markets today. So many risks. The digital risk of a digital bank run, a seizure of assets, and a freeze on all digital currencies and forms of money. What is money? Well, it's just an idea, especially when it's backed by nothing, since having gone off the gold standard. Something Trump does know all too well and is very keen on is the greatest risk. And the intellectuals that you'll speak with, the educators, those involved in geopolitics will tell you war is the greatest risk. This new nationalism, they call it, because America's first, is only creating more risks geopolitically. And this, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, whatever. The risks have only increased. This is what we've seen with the war on fake news, what we've seen with this idea that Russia erroneously hacked the U.S. election, even though if you study any of it, you know it's a complete and utter lie. A recent attempted coup of Donald Trump's administration by accusing him of participating in golden showers in Moscow. The death of numerous diplomats recently around and across the globe. Again, what's coming is a freeze of assets, a deliquification of this system. Worse than what we saw before. Again, FDIC insurance can't even cover its existing liabilities. It's an upside-down pyramid scheme. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, a lot of these pensions that are government-run, it's upside down. And it's going to be flipped on its head. And who gets screwed? You. This isn't about fear-mongering, folks. It's about education. And it really does come from a place of love, because I don't want to see people hurt. Take it from a guy who worked for one of the major Wall Street firms in 2008 and 2009 and witnessed it firsthand and became an activist today who's now on camera speaking to you right now. We can't prevent some of these geopolitical events from happening. We can only understand the risks. And that's why through the entire time that I've been doing this, nearly a decade, I've recommended you diversify that risk. How? Precious metals, gold, silver. I've typically recommended, when I was in the business, I recommended my clients hold anywhere from 10 to 15%, roughly, dependent on your time horizon, your objectives, your investment strategy, age, etc. Please consult a financial advisor. But again, education is key. And so instead of being accused of just fear-mongering, I'm going to give you guys the tools today from our partner Swiss America. All you have to do is click the link below. Download a free investor kit. Educate yourself on how to protect you and your family with precious metals, gold and silver, to protect against these risks, and a liquid asset freeze, which turns into illiquidity in the next crisis, in the next round. And God only knows how bad it actually will be. Click the link below right now. Download that report. At the very least, educate yourself with some free information. It's free. And I know these people. These are God-fearing, good Christian men and women, the type of people that I do business with and you want to do business with. Click that link right now. Where does this lead? How does this unfold? We look around us, we see this mass consumerism, we see even more complacency, we see even more debt, we see even more risks. Inflation. Those of you with pensions, those of you dependent on Social Security in the next crisis, because the Fed's going to have to print even more, at that point is going to create inflation, and it's going to destroy the value of that dollar that you once had. We've seen this. I actually have a bill, a Zimbabwe note worth $100 trillion. But people forget their history. Every major civilization, financial and monetary system has collapsed. And we're going on a couple hundred years here in the United States of America, and we're already insolvent. The national debt has doubled under the administration of Barack Obama. And the clock is ticking. What will you do? How will you diversify yourself from those risks? I have friends and family that buried their gold during confiscation, during the war, during World War II. You're ignorant to think that these things can't happen again. Again, when there's mass complacency is when there are the greatest risks. And it's been almost a decade since the last major collapse. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Do it today, now, because it's never too late to prepare. Click the link below, educate yourself, and more importantly, take action. I'm Christopher Green. Get it out everywhere, make it viral, hard hitting it in your face, and click that link below right now. Been kicking that can down the road. Now, in 2008-2009, at the height of the crisis, George W. Bush declared an emergency in the United States of America. But what few people know is that we're still in that state of emergency. The liquidity of the financial system. Every single global financial institution going down, warning us, Congress, of martial law in the streets. So what's changed? Think about that for a moment. Nothing. Not a gosh darn thing has changed. But Christopher, the economy is getting better. Is it? Or his credit? You see, all they've done is liquefied the system, this phony, erroneous system that makes up the Federal Reserve printing money out of thin air, creating a dollar from nothing, and then the banks lending that dollar 10 times out to other people and businesses. It was founded and created and started from nothing, and then lending it again. Creating a multi-quadrillion derivatives market. And if you don't know what a quadrillion is because it's tough to fathom. These are the CDOs, the CMOs, all these sexy exotic instruments that have blown up hedge funds and pretty much into the world in 2008 and 2009. A quadrillion equals $1,000 trillion. So they've created more liquidity. They've liquefied the system with credit. Why? That's not a sign of the economy getting better. That's just lubing up the system to keep you spending. So you take on more debt. Credit card debt, household and personal debt, by the way, is soon to eclipse the levels we saw pre-crash.
Big, fat, ugly bubble.
Now we got to really be smart because we don't have money anymore. You know, we're a poor nation. We're a debtor nation. And we could be on a bubble, and that bubble could crash, and it's not going to be a pretty picture.
But I saw this coming, and I've been talking about a bubble. I think you sort of alluded to it, but I've been talking about a bubble. We are right now in a big, fat, ugly bubble.
He repeated it again and again. He said it's getting bigger, it's becoming more outlandish, and it's going to collapse. He's even been selling his stocks. Donald Trump, the master tactician, the master marketer who just won the U.S. election against all odds, was telling you, America, and Americans specifically, we're going and are going to pay the piper. Because the Federal Reserve Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green and you're watching AMTV, Alternative Media Television. We are just days away from Trump's inauguration. And there's a great deal of complacency. It's at the time of most complacency where there actually is the most risks. What's changed since 2008 and 2009? Anything? Because when Donald Trump was running for president very recently, before he was elected, the presidential elect, our new president of the free world, he warned of something very specific: a massive, enormous, gigantic bubble.
Now look, we have the worst revival of an economy since the Great Depression. And believe me, we're in a bubble right now. And the only thing that looks good is the stock market. But if you raise interest rates even a little bit, that's going to come crashing down. We are in a...
In 2008 and 2009, people are taking out more credit again. They didn't even learn their original lesson, because that's what the banks want. They're laughing all the way to the bank. So they've liquefied the system. We're still in a state of emergency. They've created even more credit in the market. It's creating a much larger bubble than what we had before. The Dow is freaking approaching 20,000. For crying out loud. But what's changed? Nothing. Except the risks have increased, and we're at an all-time high of complacency. That should worry you. People taking out second mortgages again, people taking out HELOCs, people being issued new credit cards, buying things they can't afford to improve